It's Offside with Hawes and McGuire.
Hey, and welcome to Offside with Hawes and McGuire. I'm Hawes.
I'm McGuire. Hey, no pint today. Bit of a different show. Chris is gonna try and perform some editing magic.
All right, we had promised that we would do our very best to get an episode in this week, and we are going to do that. I happen to be at a golf tournament in Arizona, and Liam is on his way to Newfoundland for a hockey series down there with the legends of the NHL, and so which is exciting for him, and this is exciting for me, as you can probably imagine. Anyhow, the point is that we are going to have a great episode for you. Got a few things we're going to talk about. First thing we're going to talk about is Liam's promise that the Senators would win, guaranteed, their next 3 games, and they shit the bed and only won 1 of those 3 games. They lost 2, a stinker to Anaheim, and then they lost again to Chicago. Better game, but still a loss. They should have won that. And I just want to know what Liam has to say about that.
I did guarantee the Sens would win the week out with their opponents. They got the first one to make it 4 wins in a row, and then promptly went out and laid an egg, I would say, in both games, although the Chicago one was close. But Anaheim just ran away early on that one, and Ottawa really had very, very little pushback. Against Chicago, Mrazek played good, 42 shots, made 40 saves, former Ottawa 67, and was probably the first star of the game. Well, I guess he was. But still, that's a game that Ottawa should not be losing. So, yeah, bad call by me. I certainly thought the Sens were going to go on a mini Hamburglar run. They still might if they go another, say, the next 15 or 16 games and go 8-3-2 or 8-2-4 or whatever the case may be. 13, 14, 15 games and another great big rip like that, which they may very well do. I didn't necessarily think that they were going to make a big push for the playoffs here, but I still do think they'll come quite a bit up in the standings before the end of the season. It's all moot anyway. If you don't make the Hamburglar run and don't make it, then you're 7 years in a row, and all the pressure comes on the fall next year. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, Liam, why don't you tell us about what you did this past weekend?
Back-to-back gigs for me on the weekend just passed, just outstanding at the Canadian Tire Center with a bunch of alumni, headed up by Billy Smith and Rick Smith, Stanley Cup winners, and the rest of a really good group of Senator alumni, some of whom were there the next night in Brockville for a Brockville Winter Classic that I emceed, hosted as well, in a series of hot stoves with the headliners being Alexander Daigle and Terry Ryan, the 2 biggest NHL stories, non-NHL stories, I should say, with Alex's documentary and the reviews it's getting. And I have watched it. And talk about that later with Chris another time. And Terry Ryan, who played in the East Coast Hockey League on an emergency basis on his 47th birthday for his hometown Newfoundland Growlers, and got in a fight. And then the final guys were Brian McGrattan, Andre Waugh, and Chris Neal, who collectively have played 1,858 games, had 4,300 penalty minutes, and 724 fights. So I was pretty jacked about that one.
Okay, now welcome back. I want to also address another issue. Last week, we had this gigantic disagreement over hockey fees and the affordability of hockey. And I said, well, it's all relative, and hockey is very expensive. And Liam said, no, it's not. And we had this, and there seemed to be this milestone of $1,000 that we talked about. And I had inferred that it would cost more than $1,000, or at least $1,000 for someone to play hockey. And Liam said, no, it's not. And anyways, we came down. Now we are discussing the differences between registration fees and teams fees, which I think should be all one, because a team fee, you don't get to play if you don't pay it. And so as a result, it's part of the registration fees. Given that it's over $1,000, and I'd like to read a statement from Liam with regard to that. 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 With regard Dear viewers of Offside with Haas and McGuire, Chris was totally right. It does cost over $1,000 to play hockey. I owe him a case of beer or a bottle of Irish whiskey. And that's basically it. I could go on, but that's really the written statement that Liam has not authorized me to state for him, but I'm doing anyway, just to shit disturb. Okay, anyhow, we're going to have a great show. We have our final segment of our Ron Duguay interview, and we have the first, I'm going to call it the teaser, because we were running the camera before we even started interviewing Phil Esposito. So you're going to get the first 5 minutes or so of candid conversation with Phil Esposito, and you're going to get to find out what he actually thinks about Canadian politics. Now here we are. We're going to start with This Week in Hockey History.
Hello, Canada.
Lafleur coming out rather gingerly. Back to Lafleur.
Bossy shoots. He scores!
This Week in Hockey History.
Now, This Week in Hockey History, today's date, February the 20th, and it just happens to be the 82nd birthday of none other than somebody we're interviewing today, which is Phil Esposito. Espo is 82 years old. He is an icon. I mean, obviously, we all know that Liam has a penchant for the 72 series, and Espo, was basically the team leader on that, and made everything happen. When we interviewed him, I was nervous. I got to tell you, everyone says never meet your heroes; you'll be disappointed. And I got to tell you something. I was absolutely not disappointed. Phil Esposito is a gem of a human being, a great guy. Made me feel, and makes everybody around him, frankly, feel like they're his friend. And he is so warm and genuine. You just can't beat a guy like that. Now, This Week in Hockey History, February 20th, not only being his birthday, but Phil Esposito notched his 50th goal on his birthday. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. I mean, how often do people get 50-goal seasons, let alone score that 50th goal on his birthday? One of which was on his own brother, Tony, in net. So, you know what? I know normally we have, a much deeper discussion about a lot of things. And we tend to go off and discuss Montreal Canadian history, much to my chagrin. But we are talking about Phil Esposito, February 20th, scoring his 50th goal on his birthday on this date. So happy birthday, Phil, and I hope you guys look forward to the interview that's coming up.
This Week in Hockey History.
Okay, welcome back. We are going to jump right in to our Puck Bunny of the Week. And I have to apologize. First things off to this young lady because I mispronounced her last name over and over again. And you know what? I knew there was a difference, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was.
I really, 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 really like girls. Yeah, I really, 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 really like girls. I like girls. I like girls. I like girls.
Hey, welcome to our segment we like to call Puck Bunnies, where we take very attractive women or people that we have a tremendous amount of respect for, who are beautiful and add value to our lives, frankly, and we celebrate them. Okay, and this week, Liam, we have a Puck Bunny from Southern Ontario.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
I could be wrong. I think maybe she's originally from London, Ontario, but certainly she's from Toronto area. She went to university there. She went to York, and she became Rachel McAdams.
Oh.
Do you know her?
No, never heard of her.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just check out this picture.
Oh,
she is
wow.
beautiful.
Yeah,
she
looks
is beautiful.
great.
And you know what? She has that
Je ne sais quoi.
je ne sais quoi. She's not like, you know what? You wouldn't go, oh.
The name does sound familiar, actually.
She was in the movie About Time.
Missed that one.
She was in The Notebook. You see that one? A lot of girls saw The Notebook. You didn't see The Notebook?
Is that a chick flick?
It might have been.
Yeah.
Okay, she was
Stop
in a
it,
lot
I
of
missed it.
chick flicks.
There's no fights, right?
Okay. There was a couple of fights in
There's a couple
that.
fights in
yeah,
it?
he had to fight for her honor.
Oh, I may throw him an eyeball on it.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Just fast forward through it.
And you know who was in that? James Garner.
Okay.
He was in
Rockford File.
Yeah, James Garner. Listen, anything he was Maverick before he was
Maverick.
Rockford.
Yeah.
But Rachel McAdams, a fabulous actress who has been in numerous things. Sherlock Holmes. She was in Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, wait a minute. That's why I know the name.
Okay.
Yeah, she was outstanding in Sherlock Holmes.
And she's outstanding as she has a presence about her.
Yes.
And she's not, you know what? She's not a buxom blonde or anything like that. I
didn't know she was Canadian.
Yes.
Oh, even
yes.
better.
Oh, absolutely.
Even better.
Yeah. No, she's and she was in. There's another movie. But you know what? I really like one of the films that I quite like the movie About Time, which it's one of those sleeper things that you never even think about, and then you see this and you go, "Wow, this is a great movie." Right?
Okay.
And it was about this guy who could go back in time, or this, and he could change his circumstances time a little bit. Then he relives it, and he goes, But she is the girl of his dreams.
Okay.
She was also in The Time Traveler's Wife. There's a time traveling theme right
Okay.
there. But she is, you know what? Just a perfect Canadian beauty because she is not. I don't want to say she's not flashy because she can wear an evening gown like anybody, but she also looks like, she's the type of person you could see as your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
And you could see as the girl down the street.
Okay.
You could see as your own wife, for God's sakes.
I'm
right?
seeing that.
You know what I mean? She's got everything. So I would say that right now, without getting, into more detail, I don't know her at all.
No.
I'm expecting phone calls, maybe from her.
Probably as soon as she sees
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. She'll
Yeah.
be calling me,
Yeah.
saying, Chris, I did want to talk to you about, our relationship. But this week's Puck Bunny, okay, is Rachel McAdams.
Love it.
I really, 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 really like girls. I like girls. I like girls. I like girls.
Okay, welcome back. We've gone through a lot of things. Unfortunately, we don't have a Zamboni boy for this week because that file was, I don't know, I didn't bring it with me, so I can't upload it. So I do want to talk about a couple of things. Though, first of all, we're going to get to a segment that we call Ask Liam, which everybody knows is where I ask Liam a question, and if he doesn't know the answer, he buys me a pitcher of beer. And if he does know the answer, we still have a drink. Here's a question. This is, and I'm going to give you my reasoning behind this later
Okay.
on. Okay. Who was the last player
Yep.
in the NHL
Yep.
to record a 50-goal season,
Yep.
okay, while not wearing a helmet?
Oh, I love this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my guess is this. So helmets came in like 1980, right? Around that?
79, 80.
There you go.
Well,
Right,
when
okay.
they went mandatory to wear.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you had your Craig McTavishes, and
Last
your
guy. Yeah.
Randy Carlyle's, and those guys who were still around.
Marshy,
but
Doug
had
Wilson,
played-
Rod
yeah,
Langway.
exactly.
They're the last five guys.
So now, narrowing that down, it wasn't Brad Marsh.
No.
Okay. So and it wasn't Ron Duguay.
No.
No, but he got 40.
He had a 40-goal
40 goal
season. Yeah.
But he didn't get 50.
No.
So I'm thinking, but the only guy that I know that I can think of,
Yeah.
okay, with flowing locks, he merely skated gingerly.
Yeah. Coming
Is that
out
the guy?
rather gingerly.
Coming out rather gingerly.
Yeah.
Now, I know this was Ask Liam, but am I correct?
No.
I'm not. God
No.
damn it.
No, but
Okay.
that's a fantastic guess, and it is the guess that most people guess is Guy Lafleur because, as you said, his look and the hair, and obviously a multiple 50-goal scorer. And his last season was 1980, scoring 50.
Okay.
And so he's very,
So
very
someone
close.
after 1980,
Yes.
without a helmet,
Yes.
scored 50 goals.
Yeah, and he only did it once, but it was pretty significant. He played on a line with Denny Savard and Steve Larmer in Chicago, former junior with the Hamilton Fin Cups, and started with your Boston Bruins, Mr. Al Secord.
Really?
Yeah. So
I never thought of Al Secord as a 50-goal scorer.
well, why would you? I mean, it's like it came out of nowhere. I mean, and certainly was not that guy in Boston.
To be honest with you, he didn't even come to mind. Like
No.
when I think of all of the guys,
Yeah.
not even he wore number 2, didn't he, for a while in Boston? I know
He
that's
was
Brad
number
Parker,
20.
Oh, 20.
Yeah,
I knew it was
so he had a 2 in it.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
and super tough. Super tough. Hell of a fighter. Became an airline pilot after
right?
hockey. Yeah. Started flying planes.
lost his pilot's license because they had placed a net at the end of the runway and he crashed into it. No one wanted to fly with him anymore.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah.
So
He's the last guy to score 50 because, there's been 96 guys.
What
That's a
year
lot.
was that
Almost
again?
1983.
1983.
Yeah, so it's 3 years after Flower. And it's pretty cool. I think it's another we've had a few in a row here now, Chris, I think, that have been really good anecdotal, historical type, which are the best. They're the best questions. And they're asking, like, how many assists somebody had in 49 or 84. So, that's a stat. But, even if the guy's a Hall of Famer, who knows? His parents don't know. He doesn't know. But if there's something historical or anecdotal about a question or a number or a player or an event or something like this, then you've got the makings of a great question, which that is.
Okay, I have one last question before we leave for this Ask Liam, okay?
Yep.
In 1979, Club 54, Ron Greshner...
Studio 54.
Or Studio 54,
Yeah.
right? Club 54.
I thought, does he mean Club 61?
Yeah, exactly.
Over in Elmer, Quebec?
No.
How to get its name? Because that was its address. It was 61 Rue Principal. The British Hotel was 77, Club 61, where unfortunately the servers couldn't afford clothes. It was 61 Rue Principal.
Really? That's these are the type of anecdotal, questions. See, this is why I bring these things up. Okay, and welcome to the show. We have a great one, as I mentioned off the top. We are going to jump right into a segment of our show that we like to call Shooting the Shot with Haas McGuire. And today we are finishing up Shooting the Shot with Ron Duguay, New York Ranger, Sudbury Wolf, and Heartthrob.
Shooting the Shot, brought to you by Gib Patterson.
But we're not leaving without getting some comments from you about off the ice in New York. I mean, you're so well known for so much more off the ice and some of the theatrics that were going on at the time with Studio 54, for example, which is such a significant part of the nightlife that became global. It became recognized globally. So can you just tell us a little bit what maybe if you were the Ranger teammates, what it was like when you went there? What it was like to become Ron Duguay in New York, socializing, being on page 6 as often as you were.
Okay, that's all great, Liam. I want to hear about the women.
There we go.
Well,
there we go. May as well get into it.
Yeah, that goes
as
hand
much
in
as
hand.
you can.
Yeah. That goes hand in hand. I mean, there are women in Sudbury.
That's right.
They're Coniston.
and you know what? And I love them all.
Yes. Yeah. So I was introduced to Studio because it opened in 77, April of 77. So I'm just now getting there.
Right.
And sure enough, Rod Gilbert's there, and he knows everyone in town. Some of his good friends was Andy Warhol and everyone who knew Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
So he was introduced to Studio before I was, and so at one point, Rod said, "Hey, come on, I'm gonna take you to Studio 54." Now I don't remember the first time I got there, but I do remember as I went along. I don't say that I was intimidated by it because you walk into this room and it was a theater, like a regular theater, but they kept it dark. And you walk in dark, and then there was this beautiful dance floor with, the disco balls and that sort of, and there was an upper deck and all of that, and then sofas all around the dance floor. And I can kind of remember, okay, it's not weird, it's just music and it's fun.
And you'd been to the Brock Dan?
Yeah. The Ambassador, the Fruit Hotel, and all of that. So I understood music, I understood dancing, and so it was kind of not a big deal until you start really recognizing some folks that were there, and you start getting introduced to people. So for me, it wasn't until it was probably that season where I started to get some recognition.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, and the one who gave me the most recognition, because I got to meet Andy Warhol, I got to be around him and meet a lot of the people that knew him, and that was many.
Well, you just showed us some stuff that he autographed for you.
No. They're portraits of Ron by Andy Warhol.
But the book as well.
The number one postmodern artist in America. I mean, he's not world renowned. Is like it's kind of dulling it down. Yeah. But anyway, sorry, I get excited.
So just so you know, there's only 3 hockey players that have been on the cover. So it was Rod Gilbert the first, me the second. Who would be the third?
Wayne.
Well, yeah. So it was great. So there's only 3 of us that have been on the cover. He's put other athletes. And so anyway, so in my I meet everyone, but it's kind of low key, right? Because I'm still not run to gay yet. So it wasn't until Andy decided, I'd like to put you on the cover of my magazine. I said, okay, whatever it takes. And I have some pictures of being in the studio. He takes Polaroids and all of that. And so he puts me on the magazine. Well, everything open, all the doors open wide open. I can remember the week after I get a call, and back then it was Gulf and Western that owned the Rangers. And so someone calls, Steven Spielberg calls Gulf and Western. We want to meet this guy, Ron Duguay. I'm just reading about him in the interview. Want to meet with him. Okay. And so, I'm kind of getting why. He says, well, he's getting ready to shoot this movie. It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
God, if you tell me that you turned down a role in Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'll have to hit you with the pool.
Yeah. No, I didn't, but I was being interviewed by him to see if he thought that I would, because I hadn't done any acting, but he liked to find kind of gold in the sand, right? Yeah. Just find that one person that out of nowhere might fit the bill. So he meets me, and I had no idea how to handle this interview. So I'm just kind of being myself. Actually, I was kind of shy and quiet. I'm being a little intimidated with Steven Spielberg. And so I kind of sat there, and when I look back, I would have done it completely different. Like, I would have gone there, it would have been colorful Ron, right?
Right.
But I was just kind of quiet, and I think he saw in me that there was not enough in me to pull off that role. But he was actually, Harrison Ford ends up getting the lead role, but he was considering me for that role. But the point is, because of the cover interview. Well, a week later after that, I'm going to a fundraiser, and I'm at this table, and Farrah Fawcett is sitting right in front of me, and Ryan O'Neal. And Farrah looks at me, she goes, yeah, I just read about you. And I'm like, yeah? And this is beautiful Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, this is Farrah
sweet as can be.
Yeah.
But she brought the anchor with her. So no, I shouldn't say that. He just passed away.
Yeah.
And so a very, very nice couple. Anyways, she was in the city doing a Broadway play. I think it's called Burning.
Burning Bed?
Burning Bed? Yeah, Broadway play. She was there for a little bit. And she kind of said to me, hey, if you want to come and watch, the Broadway play, you're welcome to come by. And I'm like, well, I'm going to wait till he leaves town. And so
this is really offside.
Yeah.
Hans and McGuire.
So my wingman at the time, I had a couple of them. John McEnroe, who you know, and the other one was Eddie Meal.
Oh my God!
So Eddie's awesome.
Yeah.
You got to interview Eddie sometime because you want to hear about my life.
Yeah.
Eddie remembers everything. I said, Eddie, we're going to Broadway play tonight. He goes, why? I said, well, let's just go. It's fair. Oh, okay, I'm coming. So we go, and I have no idea. Back then, no cell phones. Right? You don't know how to communicate. I said, Eddie, let's just go knock on the door in the green room. Well, sure enough, and they didn't actually let us go back there. And there might have been one security, they recognized me, so I knock on the door and Farrah answers, right? And she was like happy to see me. And so, okay. And so Eddie I would tell Eddie, I said, if I give you a look, like a wink, just leave, you're good. And so, anyways, she says, well, what are you doing tomorrow night? I said, well, I don't have any plans. She said, well, you want to go for dinner? And so that's where the story ends.
Here we go again.
You know what?
Farrah Fawcett.
Okay, all right.
Everyone's gorgeous woman.
The cameras are shut off now. Okay, now what really? So that. Okay. Sorry.
Well, I just got to ask though, Ron. Like all that's happening, and Studio 54 is exploding. Warhol puts you on the cover. How's the relationship with your teammates? Like, is anything like? Are you missing curfew at all? Are you like? Are they saying things in the room? I know you got Wingman, you got Mio, you got Gresh, you got some of the guys.
Barry Beck. Donnie
Murdoch. Oh, Donnie Murdoch.
Yeah, so Donnie Murdoch in my second year, I'd heard all about Donnie Murdoch, and so because he was suspended for 40 games for doing illegal drugs. And so by the time he gets there, I had heard everything about him. That's my first year after the first 40 games. And sure enough, he said, let's go to studio. And I'm like, okay. And so him and I, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get into the details of it, but we had a lot of fun. He was really him. And then Barry Beck shows up, and then Barry would go. Most of the guys didn't want to go.
No way.
No, they would love to just go to a pub. Some of them lived in Westchester, like Steve Vickers wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys didn't go. It was just me, Barry Beck, a little bit of Gressner, and Donnie Murdoch, and that was it. As long as when I got to practice, and that's the other thing, you got to ask Espo.
Yeah.
When you talk to him, Espo's responsibility is to make sure I got to practice.
Really?
Yeah. He'd have to pick up me and Donnie Murdoch in the city.
Way.
Yeah. He'd have to make sure that we got there, but he loved it. You know why he loved it? He goes, okay, guys, do not fall asleep. I want to hear about what happened last night. And Espo would just...
He was living vicariously through you.
Yeah, we'd have to stay awake just to freaking tell him what happened the night before. So, anyways, Espo was awesome that way, because that's what I said. He was like, he kind of took care of it, made sure we got the practice, and and then we got to have more fun with him on the road, because we go out every night before the game. It was, we're just drinking wine tonight, guys. That's it. Okay. Well, the whole table was full of bottles of wine. So everybody would come walking out of there. Okay, we're just drinking wine tonight. Oh, we had so much fun.
So I have one last question.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to karaoke with your guy. What's the song? I know this is top-notch journalism here. Okay? What's your go-to
If you
song?
had a karaoke
You have a
song,
karaoke
what would it
song other than Hockey Sock Rock.
Here's the thing with how my mind works. There's a lot of things that I remember, don't remember for good reason or bad reason. I struggle with remembering words to a whole song. I really do, and it bothers me that I don't. And maybe because I don't try hard enough. But I was a big Bee Gees fan.
Okay.
And Elvis. I loved Elvis. And I love the Bee Gees, and Rod Stewart. That was kind of the music that was being played at Studio 54 because it was disco. Yeah. So I could not sing a whole song. I would have to practice and learn because my brain just works differently. Some are really good at remembering and retaining stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not. So I couldn't sing a whole song. I would have to.
Okay, so you're doing a duet. You're going with a bunch of guys. What's the song?
I don't know. It could be like I love Hotel California. I love the Eagles also.
Yeah.
Some songs are, a lot harder to sing, but I wouldn't sing the lead. I would kind of be on as a backup. I don't have one in particular.
You're a backup singer. All right.
I'm a backup. Don't be the lead. Don't be the forward. But I'll be there just looking good and just and give me a fake guitar.
Exactly.
Hey Ron, thanks so much, man.
Oh, it was an absolute pleasure.
What a pleasure.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Boom! Okay, so it's been in the press a lot, and I want to discuss this with Liam. Okay, the Kelsey, what's her name there, Taylor Swift. That people are all upset. They think that his barbaric caveman behavior is going to be the end of their relationship. I know, I'm going to say this right now, personally, and I know I don't give a shit about their relationship. Okay, I don't care about that. But I am sick and tired of people calling men, anytime they show any sort of aggression, cavemen and archaic and stuff like that. I just want to beat them with a fucking club. Okay, that's probably a little aggressive. Okay, but the fact of the matter is men, especially professional athletes, jacked up, ready for a championship game, are going to be intense. They're going to show that they are competitors. They're warriors. You want a warrior who's like fucking Justin Trudeau and cry? No, you want a man like Churchill. You want a man like Kelsey and Mahomes and win the goddamn Super Bowl. So anyway, that's my point. I know Liam's going to say probably similar stuff, but we'll see what he has to say about that.
I don't know, Taylor Swift and her football playing hubby there. Well, they're not married, but relationship because of Kelsey's screaming at the coach there on the sidelines. That picture went pretty viral in the Super Bowl, especially post event. I really don't care. I couldn't give two shits about them in that respect.
Okay, welcome back to part 2 of our segment we like to call Shooting the Shot with Hawes McGuire. And today we are shooting the shot with birthday boy, none other than Phil Esposito, Sault Ste. Marie born, another Northern Ontario boy, who had a 12-point game, I believe, in his junior year when he was playing in Hamilton or St. Catharines. What an incredible gentleman, what a great guy. And I have to tell you that, as I said off the top, sometimes when you meet your heroes, they do not disappoint. Here's Phil Esposito with Shooting the Shot.
Shooting the Shot, brought to you by Gib Patterson.
Your impassioned speech in 72. Probably one of the greatest, I don't want to call it motivational speeches, but in Canadian history.
You know what? At the time, I didn't realize it because it just was coming out. I came close to swearing more than once during it.
Yeah.
And Esau saw it too.
Yeah.
But as I thought about it years later, what got me was the 3 or 4 guys that were in their 20s, I'm pretty sure, yelling communism is better. And that, look, even right now, there's a rush that goes through me that absolutely pisses me off. Okay? It's not better.
Well, I think we...
It's not freaking better.
Could you please tell our current Prime Minister?
Well, that dodo brain. You got him. We got it just as bad, so I can't say anything. I wish I could say more, but we got Dum Dum and you got Dum Dum Senior or Junior.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
terrible.
It's an interesting time.
You never know what dress he's going to wear next.
My sister says, I'm coming down to visit. I said, no problem. I said, you want to stay here permanently? She said, yeah, well, maybe. I said, well, then fly down to Mexico City. Come to the border. I'll pick you up. You're here. Because, I'm a Canadian American. I was born in Canada, so I'm a Canadian. I'm Italian descent. And
No, hang on a second. Esposito's an Italian man?
It is. Lots of people. Well, Dick Meadows thought I was a Cuban. My old man threatened him. He said, "You ever call my son a Cuban again? I'll pull that derby."
Yeah,
down
that
on
old
your-"
derby. How do you
He said,
do it?
"Onto your shoulders."
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was after the game in Toronto in '72.
Yeah.
Meadows called me a Cuban bandit. But my feeling is that I watched 3 inaugural speeches in my life, not to get too political, because I've been in the States, since 63, 64. Went home to work in the summertime until I was 30, which these guys playing now can't believe.
I know.
That you had to have a job.
That I worked in the summertime to make ends meet. I didn't make enough money. I mean, when I scored 76 goals, I don't remember, but I think I was making somewhere in the vicinity of $20,000 a year, So it had to work in the summertime. And I drove bulldozers, Euclids, PRs, you name it, I drove it. But those 3 inaugural speeches, I watched John Kennedy's. I would have voted for John Kennedy in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I watched Ronald Reagan's. I would have voted for Reagan for a heartbeat. And I watched the Obamas. And I wanted Obama to come out and say, I'm an American of African descent. But he didn't. He said, I'm an African American. And I shut the TV off. Because that divided us right away.
That's a really good point. You know what? I say the same thing at home about, we are becoming very divisive in Canada as well.
Absolutely.
And growing up in Northern Ontario, we had Italians, we had Ukrainians, everybody, you know what I mean? And everybody, but we all were a community.
Canadians. If you're born in Canada, you're Canadian.
And you know what?
And that's never going to stop with me.
And it's the thing, and I'm just extrapolating here, but I'm assuming
I know a big word too,
But I'm assuming that you probably feel the same way, that when you have had somebody to your home for dinner, when you've broken bread with somebody, that's an extension of your family. Like if you've
Without a
invited,
doubt.
right? And so when I would go to my friends' houses and have dinner with the family, and we were always together, we were playing. I mean, we were just kids, right? But we were playing,
Yeah.
and their mother was my mother, and believe me, their mother would give me hell when I did something wrong, not as much as they gave their own kid.
No,
right?
that's for sure.
Okay.
My aunt, who lived across the street, slapped me more than my mother for breaking her windows playing hockey. But Eddie Joyce, pow! I didn't know you had all these cameras too.
Oh, listen, it's a big time production.
Big time.
Big time. This
Big.
Three cameras.
I mean, you've probably seen this. Like you've done, color for great networks, and you've been doing a lot of stuff for many years. Is this not the most exciting thing you've ever done?
Absolutely. In fact, I'm so excited that I'm not sure I can get through it.
Okay, welcome back. That was just a little teaser of a conversation we had while the camera was running, but we weren't actually starting the interview. We were just chatting. Phil, such a great down-to-earth guy, and as you can see, very candid. So I look forward to the coming weeks where we're going to be showing excerpts of all that. All of the Ron Duguay interview will be posted on our website, as well as the complete one, I should say. We've seen it in segments. The complete one will be posted on the website and for podcast very shortly. So I hope you enjoy those things.
Our hockey pool, of course, by Hosey and Brown Automotive, as we get ever closer to the end of the regular season and somebody winning a free trip to Ireland. Just incredible stuff, what's going on. So thanks to Hosey and Brown for that. Maybe next week, a new sponsor as well coming on board as people continue to flock to Offside with Haas and McGuire.
That is about it for Offside with Haas and McGuire for this week. I've been Haas.
I'm McGuire. We'll catch you later. G'day.